Hi there, Chris from TotallyEV, and today we're looking at the Lotus Eletre S. This is the S version rather than the R version, and I just thought to give you a quick POV video of it. Look at the front. So first let's talk about its design. Look at its design over here. I am loving that. I love what Lotus have done over here. Little inlets over here. Very nice. Not really sure about the trim around and around the side skirts as well. I mean, it is an SUV. It's a hyper SUV, to be more specific, that comes in at £130,000. Yes, you heard that right, £130,000. Pop-out door handles. And its design at the back is very sleek. Look at that little air duct over there. It actually serves a purpose when it comes to aerodynamics. And these small little winglets over here. Almost like you want to snap them off and have them like a little chocolate biscuit. At least that's what I think. I don't know about you guys. But anyway, so its boot. Let's open up its boot. Electric tailgate, as you might expect. Rear view camera, which is up there. Huge boot. Look at that. So underfloor compartment. Yes, indeed. For your charging cables, if you so wish to have them. Small little side area, very, very small. Presume a side-mounted subwoofer is over there. 12-volt socket and the boot load cover, which I presume can be removed. Yes, there we go. Pretty stiff, feels really nicely built, but pretty stiff. In terms of the opening, really large. No issues whatsoever as someone who's just under 6 foot tall. I mean, I could be in the NBA at this stage and I wouldn't have an issue. But it looks really good. In terms of practicality, that's pretty nice. Now, I heard there's a frunk, so we're going to find out. And I will show you the interior, do not worry. So, double hit on that. And I'm now just going to wear the GoPro, so I've got some hands-free. And here we go. Small little area. And yes, we've got a frunk. Nice compartment for your charging cables. Closes in here and double mechanism over there. So yeah, the car looks really nice. I'm going to sit at the back first. See how it is. So almost a flat floor. Small little hump over here. Little display over there. Nice looking speaker. So I'll sit in here. Wow, pretty spacious. For an electric vehicle, this is pretty impressive. As someone who is just under 6 foot, I have got no issues whatsoever when it comes to headroom. Lovely little panoramic roof over here. I say little, it's actually pretty large. No sunshade, but it looks like it's fine in that respect. Let's just close the door. Feels really quiet. The window's open, so I will get onto that a bit. But to open it, there's little release buttons as you'd find on some other vehicles out there, for example, the Teslas. Legroom, really good. I really like that. Sitting towards the middle, headroom, yet again, very nice. Bit hard of a seat over here, but we do have cup holders. We do have cup holders, and I presume a little storage area over here. There we go. I'm learning as I'm doing this, by the way, in case you're wondering. So yeah, seats themselves pretty comfortable on the outer, but the middle one is a little bit stiff. Pretty hard, but again, headroom, legroom, absolutely fantastic. I really like that. So let's close this seat, close this door even. If I touch this, yes, there we go, we've got a little display. Hopefully you can see this and you can see what I'm seeing, but I can left adjust the backrest. That's good. So you got electric seats, electric reclining seats. They don't recline by much, but they do recline. So that's nice. Quick access. So certain quick things that you can change. Climate controls, music, Bluetooth, media. We're just going to leave that. Nice. And then sound. Different sound modes and seats. Cool, that's nice. Well, let's go back to the front. Let's go to the front and more specifically the front seat. Now you might have noticed digital rear view mirrors. Controversial for some people, but I don't mind them, having seen them before in other vehicles. So I just put my seatbelt on, so in case it bings and bombs at me. And I'm just going to close the window. I'm just going to go quiet, switch off the climate controls. If I can work out how to do that. That was a front off. It is pretty quiet in here. It is pretty quiet. That's quite nice. So insulation's done pretty well, as you might expect. But we're going to see how it is on the road. So rear view mirrors, digital to the side over here. A little bit less from where you'd normally be looking at towards the road. You'd be looking at a little bit higher up. It's a little bit lower down and diagonally off. Not sure how some people will feel about that, but it does mean that you do have to take your eyes from there to there rather than there to there. But anyway, in terms of adjusting, yep, touchscreen, and then if I press that one, it adjusts that one. Pretty self-explanatory. Yet again, release buttons for the front as well. I presume there's an emergency beaver just in case. Tailgate button there. Display. So, I haven't come across the Lotus displays before, but it looks pretty well configured. It looks like you've got some quick access buttons at the bottom, and these are the different drive modes. And that's the suspension kicking into play. So in sport, seems to really stiffen it up. I'm just going to leave it on individual. Safety. Bunch of different things over here. Disabled fatigue detection. Sound. It would be great to actually play around with the car a bit more and play with the sound. But display, you've got a head-up display. You probably won't be able to see it, but you have got a very sleek driver's display right in front. Very, very sleek, very nice. And there's one over here. Is it touch-based? Well, there's some sort of thing that's going on over here. You can switch it off completely. But I presume you'll be able to display something there. But that's quite nice. A nice little touch for your passenger. Nothing for the rear, obviously, other than the rear display, but there's nothing on the rear portion of the front seats. But nice little sleek display. Good vision, in my opinion. It's not blocked off by the steering wheel. Steering wheel feels really nice to grip. I like this kind of fabricy Alcantara type of finish to it. And you've got some flappy paddles, or paddle shifters, as some people call them. Regen on left, drive mode on the right, at least for a right-hand drive vehicle. And some nice little adjustment buttons over here. They feel pretty premium, pretty nice, as you would expect for a car that's pretty expensive. So we're going to go and now drive, but before I do that, some specifications. As you can see, I am just reading off my phone. So 603 horsepower, 612 PS, that's 450 kilowatts of power. Maximum of 30 minutes of power. Interesting. So that's maximum power output is what I just mentioned. Now the combined WLTP range is sitting at 308 miles. Now you can see right now I've got 27%, 85 miles. It's been driven by other journalists, so it's not going to be an accurate claim, but that is the baseline specs. Max DC charging 350 kilowatts, so that's pretty good. Top speed of 160 miles an hour, 0 to 62 in just 4.5 seconds. Not as rapid as some people might expect, but still. In terms of the front capacity, 46 litres, which is pretty sizable, as you probably were able to see. The rear boot, 611 litres with the 4-seat combination. If you go to 5 seats, which is what we've got, we go up to 688 litres. That's pretty sizable. And with the seats folded down, 1,532 litres. So those are top line specs, but I'm going to put my phone away and we're going to get on and do some driving. So foot down on the accelerator, so on the brake pedal, and we shift down and we should be able to go into part. So the key is over here, quite interesting key. I heard you have to do that, put it there and then pop it over here. I got a little bit of a tug on the seat belt. And we're going to get going. So I was just looking at my mirror and I just realized it's not there, but it is there. So let's have a little drive in this hyper SUV. Now what I'm really curious about is how fast is it going to be able to go? And more importantly, is it going to handle as what I would expect for a Lotus to handle? Is it going to be nice and nippy, or is it going to feel a bit more of a boaty-like feeling? And is it going to be kind of weighed down by its battery pack? It'll be interesting to find out. Regen braking. I think we've got full one pedal, but I'm just going to test after I go past this little tunnel part over here. Now it is a big car, so I don't want to make sure I'm not scratching it, obviously. So I'm just going to lift off the accelerator pedal. It's still rolling. Let's try that again. I know I didn't indicate, but let's just try that again. Now the car will still roll, even at its maximum regen. And that's off completely. So we're going to keep regen on. I quite like driving with regen. It's quite nice to drive with. So far I can hear kind of the vehicle like whining away. Whines away at the front. But it's quite quiet, so I can hear the raindrops going on the windscreen. But it seems pretty quiet. I think that's binging and bonging at me because it's 20 over here and I was going 23 or 24. So where are we going to go? I think I'm going to take a right over here. And in fact, there might be navigation set, so maybe that's what's going. I'm going to end the trip. There we go. Might be that, actually. That was binging and bonging at me. So indicator sound. As you'd expect, to be honest with you. So I don't know if this leads anywhere, but I'll just put my foot down. Woohoo! Okay, so you can feel it. It definitely goes. I think this is a dead end, actually. Or does it actually loop around? I'm not really sure. But the car does have some propulsion to it, as you might expect. And I'm not even in the sport mode, in fact. I should probably put it on the sport mode. So far the car's feeling pretty nice to drive. It's pretty snug. The seats are pretty snug, even though I'm not in the sport mode, which doesn't... on the sport mode, it kind of tightens you up a little bit. Let's try and go... Oh, it's on the drive mode on the right side. If I go over here... switching me to sport mode. There we go. Stiffens up a bit. If I put my foot down. Okay, there we go. That's a lot more torque. Straight away I felt a lot more torque while driving there. Yep, definitely feel it. And if I were to shift down into tour mode and do the same thing, it's a bit slower to pick up. Put my foot down and it picks up. Whilst in sport mode, if I just give it just a little second, straight away, instant pickup. Again, as you might expect for something that has something called sport mode. And if I were to go to the individual, which obviously has been set for different thing, ride height, medium, so you can see the suspension is adaptive. So therefore it's going to adjust depending on the different drive modes. But individual is a bit slower to pick up. I'm going to go on sport mode because I want to have a little bit of fun. And I want to feel if this actually feels like a Lotus. Now I have no idea where I'm going, but I'm going to go left. Good, I spotted that car right there. There we go. Oh, look at that. A straight bit of road. There's a car coming, but I'm just going to put my foot down. Is there launch control? No, there isn't, but... yeah, the car does definitely go, but I think some people coming to electric vehicles might expect it to absolutely fly, specifically compared to a lot cheaper alternatives out there. It doesn't feel that way, but we're talking about straight line speed. And really, if you're looking at Lotus, you probably don't care all that much about a straight line speed. You care about handling characteristics. So, see how it handles. Car feels pretty planted on the ground. I can feel a lot of the road underneath because I'm on sport mode, so I can hear the dampers or the suspension doing its work. It's not resonating too much within the cabin, so therefore it doesn't take away too much from the driving experience, but I can still feel it through the steering wheel and through the wheels, just a little bit. It's not a bad thing to have. That's pretty nice. Now this goes into stable, so I think we need to reverse and go back from where we came from. So maneuverability, perfect opportunity to talk about that. Is it easy? Seemingly. There's camera systems which give me a little bit more peace of mind. I can see behind me there. Maneuverability is pretty good as well. That's nice. Very easy to maneuver the car, even in its sport mode. See, the car feels pretty planted on the ground. I've got a good sort of connection. I can hear the road a little bit, but not too much. Good braking power. Let me just put my foot down on the brake. Oh, wow, okay. That is pretty aggressive in a good way. A lot of electric vehicles have bad brakes, but this... Wow, yes, okay. I almost felt the blood rush to the front of my skull there because it's got such good braking power. Wow, that's very impressive, considering it's very wet and the weight this car has have to shift. So like 50 miles an hour, full on brake. Wow. Wow. That is incredible. That is incredible. That's and I'm normally not speechless by brakes, but for an electric SUV, the braking performance is stupendously good. At least that's what it feels like. Wow, that's really good. Okay, so I'm very impressed by its braking performance. The overall raw performance of the car is decent, but for electric standards, it seems like it's a little bit sluggish for what you'd expect for something called a hyper SUV. I'm pretty sure that's what Lotus have said, hyper SUV. But I love the brakes. Who thought I'd be so fascinated by brakes? I mean, it's an EV, I know, but and it's shifting a lot of weight, but well, the braking performance is fantastic. If you're test driving this car, do an emergency brake. Safely, of course. Really nice. Really nice. But yeah, I'm really liking the car's feel. You should expect it. It's £130,000. You'd expect it to feel good. But it feels pretty nice. It feels premium. It looks nice from the inside and the out. Of course, it's got the performance, but one might expect better performance. But it's got the performance, and also around corners seems to do a decent job. That's pretty nice. Right. So let's get on to some other roads. I'm curious to know, by the way, if you're already watching this far into the video, what do you think of the Lotus? And also, how do you think you pronounce it? Eletre, I think is how they say it. Eletre? Eletre S and Eletre R, if I'm not mistaken. Curious to know how you would have pronounced it if you just looked at it and you weren't told it by someone who works from the press department of Lotus. I think that's how you would pronounce it normally, but I'll be curious. Anyway, curious to know what you think of the vehicle and how you feel it sits. That guy's buzzing it down. Yeah. I'm actually trying to enjoy it as much as possible because it's only a short drive, but I'm really liking what I'm experiencing so far. Now, intriguingly, I was just talking about how the cabin's quite quiet. Now it's a little bit louder because I'm on different sort of roads, but I'm going to change the drive mode to see if that's to do. It is. There we go. Suspension's loosened up, and I hear less of the road, which is better. So that's what I'm going to do. But yeah, it just feels nice. It feels premium. And I hope its range is decent. 308 miles WLTP, what would I expect? Probably around 230, 240 miles, which probably suffice for the vast majority of consumers. You've got a car like this, you probably have a house, and therefore you've got a means of charging at home. Don't have to worry too much about the public infrastructure. That wouldn't be a bad thing. So that should suffice, but obviously that's just presumption based on other cars I've reviewed and tested, and this is just the first drive, and it's going based on mileage that's been done by other journalists who've probably put their foot down because they're sitting in a Lotus and they just want to see how it feels. But yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm pleasantly surprised. Anyway, I don't want to ramble on for too much longer, but I just thought to share my first experiences of driving this Lotus, and I'd be curious to know what you think of it, and also if you think I should get it in for review. Obviously, if Lotus will provide the loan, but if I should get in for review, let me know that in the comment section below. Of course, if you've liked this video, definitely do consider dropping a like, subscribing for the GoPro, and hitting that bell notification. I've been Chris from TotallyEV, and I'll hopefully see you next one. Take care of yourselves, and goodbye.